Hello everyone and welcome to another Throne and Liberty video. My name is Brian if you happen to be new to the channel, but if you're a returning subscriber you can just call me Brian. That works. You got to roll those R's, but we're going to have some fun in today's video. Now, we should take this video and this information with a little bit of grain of salt. Namely, I think especially when they start talking about October 2023 as a release date, that kind of spells a problem to me, but we'll talk about why here a little bit in this video itself. I'm going to go through this post if you guys haven't seen. Jay Evenly, he's got two channels, Jay Oddly and Jay Evenly. Jay posted this video talking about the release date and mentioning this article, and so I want to include a link in to his channel if you guys want to go check him out. My video is going to take a different approach, so if you want to hang out even after watching his, note that we're going to be talking about some of these things and my thoughts on them as well. So first and foremost, a couple of key takeaways. We'll go through the points one by one that I think are really significant, and then we're going to talk about what they could mean for this game as we get ready to roll into the second half of 2023 and still looking for a hard release date itself. But first and foremost, first point, NCSoft has a priority goal of releasing the next Throne and Liberty simultaneously globally in October with Amazon. Now, prior to this, at the end of May, NC and Amazon will conduct a closed beta test in South Korea and North America, respectively. And by North America, I agree with Jay. I think that he's talking about probably more the West or more the global side of things. I think this is significant in terms of if they do decide to go with a global launch, that does have some impact. We'll talk about a bit more of that here in just a minute. But they said initially their official release was actually for May. But considering the synergy of the collaboration with Amazon and the existence of various different competitors, the release around the corner, such as Diablo, in this case, the translation says 10. We know that means 4. The release schedule has been confirmed. They also go on to say, as the release schedule has been delayed about half a year, so if you think from March to October, some of them are complaining and worried that the establishment of a pay-to-play model and the game like Throne of Liberty will eventually can be converted to a lineage type, or aka a pay-to-win model. The source also added that NCSoft and Amazon have confirmed a plan to reduce the gap in services as much as possible and actually release at the same time. So this article in and of itself, at least from the translation, is already slightly contradicting itself, as they are like, hey, we're going to go with simultaneous, or we're going to try to be as simultaneous as possible. So this was interesting. I thought this was kind of just an interesting bit of information. Originally, the game was actually being developed in the Guild Wars engine, but after the lead took over production and the leadership, the engine was replaced with, they say, Unreal Engine 5. We know, at least at the time, was Unreal Engine 4.25. I don't know if they've upgraded to Unreal Engine 5, but I wouldn't be surprised if that doesn't happen along the way. Again, this could be just translation error in its case. The project name was changed TL and was actually abbreviated like that was meaning the lineage. Now we know that it's now Throne and Liberty, and as a part of that, they changed the IP. So at the time of the release, TL was proposed to be officially Lineage 3. It also was suggested, but at the end, they decided to name it a new IP, Throne and Liberty, regardless of the Lineage IP. This is said to be a combination of internal checks and market conditions. Market conditions is interesting because one of the things we talk about a lot here on the channel, beyond games, there's also an underlying theme about the market and like in game economies, creator economies, MMO economies. And the reason is because there's all these different forces at work. And when I see a lot of, conversation and discussion happening online, usually it's within one angle. Like it's, somebody's an expert in one of the pillars of what's going on, and they forget oftentimes about some of the other elements, some of the other forces that are actually at work. So I find it strange, if nothing else, I'm not going to judge them for this, but to kind of surrender that SEO, that search engine optimization. When we look at a game like New World, like the name alone is problematic. It's a search engine nightmare. A game like Lineage has a lot of history and it can actually build that, but maybe that's actually working against them because of preconceived notions, right? We see this happen all the time, even in the world of Final Fantasy. Hey, do I need to play all the previous Final Fantasies so I can play 16? No, but that's just naturally a question because people come into gaming at all different times and life cycles. And I think in the world of an online games as a service game, a number is actually problematic. It's interesting though, because I think they could have still used Lineage, but maybe that would have been more problematic. I think that if they were ever going to do another Final Fantasy MMO. I think it should just be called Final Fantasy Online, so that you get that kind of separate away from a numbered series perspective. But again, that could always be up for debate, and I'd love to know your thoughts on that specific question alone, if you feel like weighing in the comments. But on that note, Throne of Liberty, obviously a name. It's the good thing about it is it's not something that like is already very similar to or exists. It does have that abbreviation TNL. So that's, I think, going to end up giving it some help within the algorithms, and we have to acknowledge them because they suck ass, but they're there, and you got to kind of think about that. In fact, I was watching Louis C.K., which is kind of fun for me because I look like Louis C.K. I have a whole bit in my stand-up about Louis C.K., but I was watching him talk about how like the downfall of comedy is that you're playing to the algorithm and not actually working on probably the best possible jokes that you can make, and I tend to agree with that. And as somebody who both is a stand-up comedian and a content creator, like there's always that underpinning of that heartbeat of what's going on in the algorithm itself that can, negatively influence the things that you try and make and things like that. But that's beyond essentially probably the scope of this video itself. I apologize getting on that tangent. All right, so I want to talk about the concept of October. I think October is the probably worst possible month that they could launch this game. I do actually feel like May is going to have the closed beta test. I've been told something is on the way really quickly around the corner. May is really quickly approaching around the corner. I've been told I might be in the closed beta, but nothing yet has been confirmed. No key or degrees of how this is going to work has been sent my way, so we'll have to wait and see. I'll be sure to let you guys know as soon as it's been confirmed to me. But May feels about right, especially for a closed beta. I think that makes sense. October feels it's outside of the third quarter, which we did see that the game has been delayed to the third quarter 2023. Pushing it to October actually pushes it into fourth quarter. But beyond quarters, when I look at October alone, you're stacking up against so many things. You're most likely even stacking up against New World's own expansion. You're most likely stacking up against Blue Protocol. You're most likely stacking up against a lot of your own competition, especially within Amazon alone. So October feels like a weird time frame, unless it's not ready. But even these reports go on to say that the game is ready. They're just kind of polishing it up. And ideally what they're doing in this case, like if they decide third quarter, if they want to look at, August or September, I think those are actually more reasonable timeframes, and they could use the time between now and then to continue to work on the content updates. Because the most critical aspect isn't how you launch, it's what you follow it up with next, and then next, and then next, and keep following up with content. Because there's an insatiable demand for MMOs and MMO content. So I don't necessarily, I feel like this article is hitting on a couple of truths, but I don't see yet how October could be the month. If it is the month, it is the month, but we don't have any official announcement yet on if it is October 2023. It just feels like that's kind of a bad month to launch a new IP in, along with the other things that are also launching around the same time. So pushing it out from Diablo, only then to still compete with even yourself, seems a little bit far-fetched. But we'll have to wait and see. Now, guys, the link to the article is below. Jay's video is below. Go check it out if you guys got some extra time. You want some more Throne of Liberty in your feed. I'm going to thank you guys so much for your time today. I'm looking forward to a couple of videos that I've got scheduled now that my voice is coming back. I've been sick the last couple of days. So thank you guys so much for your time. If you feel like it earns it, hit that like button. Double tap that dislike button if you don't like these videos. And if you're here and you're getting that kind of news, I'd be kind of curious. So let me know what you didn't like about the video, and I can try to do better. Thanks guys so much for your time. Hopefully you have a wonderful day. Hopefully I'll see you next time. But until then, take care.